In today's video, we're talking about 10 money habits that build quiet wealth. The very first one is always going to be your easiest or hardest. I'm sorry. Spend less than you earn. So it's easy to spend less than you earn to hear that. But it only becomes hard when you're calculating it and you're calculating your expenses based on your income. So if you know that you only have room for $15 worth of subscriptions, you get a subscription that's probably $5. And the hardest part comes when the subscription that you can get that's $5 doesn't exist. So that means you're going to have to go without subscriptions. So that means you're going to have to sacrifice in this season of trying to build wealth quietly. This is not to say that you're always going to be like this. This is not to say you won't ever have a subscription. This is to say that for a time being, you're going to have to do this. So when I first did this, it took about, I want to say, 9 months for me to start seeing the type of money that I wanted to be able to comfortably be like, you know what, I can afford another prescription or prescription subscription. I can afford Netflix and Hulu this time instead of just Netflix. So there is, like I said, a sacrificial period of time where you're trying to build wealth. And it might not take you but 3 months. It might take you 6 months. It might take you just having an awareness, but let's start nonetheless. Spend less than you earn. You want to follow a simple budget blueprint. So, in one of my other videos, I talk about the 50-30-20 rule. Those are the rules of your life or your financial life. That's a goal, though, right? However, although 50-30-20 is a goal, you might be like, I can only have maybe 70% go towards my needs, and I can do maybe 10% towards my wants and maybe 5% towards my savings. So in that video, I'm telling you exactly how to tailor that to you. Yes, the goal is to 50-30-20, and you can eventually get there, but just start somewhere and be realistic about how you start. Make a contract with yourself, because if you make a contract with yourself, you're not going to, go against a contract. I mean, right? Build an emergency fund. So, an emergency fund is really 3 to 6 months, but start small. Yes, the goal is 6 months, but start small. Build it for 1 month and then capitalize on the other months. So, you add up all of your expenses. So, if your expenses are $2,500, you put that $2,500 that first month into a savings account, or you can start it in a SoFi account. Or high yield emergency or high yield savings plan where it's earning interest. You can start with that 1 month. And then when you get that 1 month, then grab a second month and so on and so forth until you get to the 6 month, and you can stop at the 6 month. Now, it may be extremely frustrating. It may take you 2 years to do it. Give yourself the time allowable to do that. So even if it's a 2-year plan, have celebratory wins. So after my first month of building an emergency fund, my celebratory wins was to fix myself fix myself a large breakfast. That might seem really immature, or that might seem kind of small to you, but I don't necessarily want my celebratory wins to be for having spending allowances. Oh, okay, I can go spend $500. But if that is what's going to take it for you, if you save your very first month and you tell yourself, after I save for my first month, I'm going to allow myself to spend $500 on whatever I want, then do it. Then do it. Whatever it takes for your mind to be like, oh, I'm going to be happy and I'm going to celebrate this. And then I'm going to have the motivation to go on to the next. But mine's, I chose that for the breakfast thing was because I don't ever eat breakfast, and breakfast is my absolute favorite part of the day. I get up so early in the morning and have to go off to work that I don't have time to fix me a breakfast that's my favorite meal of the day. And so I just carve out the time to do either a biscuit or French toast sticks, eggs, either sausage or bacon, and rice or grits. And that's just enough to make my heart full. So do what makes your heart full in those celebratory wins. All right, so the next thing we're going to look at is avoiding high interest debt. So you really got to stop the bleeding. So the bleeding can be in the high interest debt that comes in the form of the credit cards, the car loans, the overpriced homes, or the payday loans. Now, my husband and I, 6 years ago, we closed on our house. But when we were going through the pre-approval process, the people told me, because at first I wanted to just get the loan in my husband's name so that I can do investment properties, right? So I just had them run, my husband's credit and income, do the pre-approval for him. They priced us or pre-approved us for $500,000 on a home. Now, now between me and you, I could care less about a $500,000 home. I mean, who cares if I'm pre-approved for that much? Do I even want that much? Do I need that much? Yes, we had a family of five, three kids, and the two of us, but we didn't need a $500,000 home. So we went for one that was 300,000. And even with the 300,000 we put down, let's see, what's 12 for the down payment, 7 for the closing. So we put about a down like $18,000. So even with the 18, and 7 of it came from the company that we decided to go with our title company. So 17, $18,000, whatever that amount was for our day down payment. So that $300,000 was even less than that once we, so in other words, no need for overpriced home. Stay away from payday loans. You will be in a cycle that you cannot get out of. Use credit responsibly. You want to always pay your bills on time, because if you are late one time, your score could drop 85 points. So pay on time. Keep your balances low. Avoid the debt. Only borrow what you can pay, what you can repay, and just monitor please your credit. Invest consistently. Investing consistently just pretty much means auto pay into what you're investing. So if you get an auto payment, I mean, if you get like a SoFi or like an investment, high yield savings account, if you're doing that type of investment, then you want to just make it automatic. Just have those automatic payments, and that's how you can do it consistently. Just something very simple like that. Even if it's a 401k, 2% of your income, or you can match it at 5% if you're done with paying off debt. Just make sure you're auto paying it into that. You want to always find ways to increase your income. Either you're finding a skill like you know how to bake, or you're getting a raise on your job, or you're doing extra work like maybe additional hours. But whatever you're doing, increase your income. Find ways to increase that income, and always, always, always be open to learn about money. Either you're reading books, because I hear so much information are in these books, and people are not going to find out about them because they don't read. So always be willing to read books, listen to podcasts, learn about taxes, go to seminars. Just be willing to hear from people that have done what you are trying to do, and just be willing to listen for sure. And you want to always have a future plan in mind. Save for long term. Either you're saving for a house, or you're saving for a retirement, or you're saving for a college fund for your kids, a new car. Always have your future in mind when you are getting new income, or when you are hustling for a side gig or learning a new skill. Whatever you're doing, just make sure that you have your future in mind and you're writing these down. Writing the vision, you're making it plain. That's really in the first one, when you're spending wisely, because you're going to be able to track that income. Okay. And I just want to thank you so much. I am Karen, your ex banker next door, and we're going to learn a lot together. Stay tuned for the next video. And I'm going to make sure that we are building money quietly, building wealth quietly.